Lisa Denae Live starts now, only on Stunner Radio, the heart and soul of the culture.
And you know, it's like that saying, hate has spoken loudly for so long. Greed has spoken loudly for so long. Liars have spoken loudly for so long. Love needs to stop whispering.
Hey, you guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Black Friday. That means it's Black Male Appreciation Day here at Lisa Denae Live. You know how we do it. I've been doing this since 2017, okay? I have been doing Black Men Appreciation Day. So at first I started as Black Male Appreciation Day because I want to recognize my sons too, the Black boys. But then I realized I'm going to just call it Black Men Appreciation Day because I teach my boys that there's a man inside of them, even as they are a boy. So I'm recognizing them too, along with the other Black men. So I got to plug my book. Okay, this is the book that was born from this movement. The movement that was born from this book is called Undeniable Magnificence, and this is a collection of poetry dedicated to Black men. Now, let me just go on and put this out there for your hearing. A lot of these poems are dedicated to the men of my life, and some people don't even know that they have poems written about them in this book because I did it kind of like secretively. I'm inspired by people, and sometimes I don't even tell them. I just take that inspiration and do something with it. But let me read you the dedication because that leads to the guest on our show tonight. So in my dedication, it says, for Joel C. Patterson Sr., Joel C. Patterson Jr., Jock C. D. Patterson, you know he had to be extra, Khalil, Augustine, and Ezekiel. These are the jewels in my crown. So I had to write a book about them. And now I got another jewel in my crown by the name of Malcolm Xavier King, my grandson. So as you can see and tell and know, I am surrounded by greatness. I am surrounded by Black men. How can I fail? How can I not be successful? How can I not shine when I am surrounded by such greatness? So that leads me to my guest for tonight. Let me tell you something. I am so excited. And I've been doing my show, Lisa Denae Live, for about 4 years. I've been doing a show for about 6 years. So the fact that I'm nervous, it makes no sense at all. But I am completely nervous tonight because my big brother's on my show tonight. And y'all know, if you watch my show, if you've been following me, you know that I can cuss you out, but in the next 30 seconds, I'm gonna be crying. You know, I'm just a big ball of emotions and feelings. So my whole goal for tonight is to try to get through this show without bawling. Okay. So I'm gonna probably be cracking a lot of jokes and letting my brother do a lot of the talking, because in my recent years, I have been allowing myself to be emotional. So with that being said, I'm very emotional about the men in my life because they don't know how important they are. And that's why I started this Black Men Appreciation. Well, it already started, so I don't need me trying not to cry. I started it because I noticed as a child, Black men walk around and they don't even know how important they are. They go through life feeling unloved, unwanted, unappreciated, unprotected, disrespected. And I saw that my whole life, and I thought, they don't even know. They don't even know what they are to us. They don't know that they are mountains, that they are giants, that they are the earth and the moon and the stars for me. They don't know that because we don't tell them that. And I just got tired of not saying it. I just got tired of not showing it. And then, I showed it to some knuckleheads, some fuck boys. Yes, I did. I showed them the love and appreciation, and they did me wrong. But I said, I'm not going to let the devil steal my joy and take my purpose. I'm not going to cast my pearl among swine. So I wasn't going to blame them for doing the mission that I know I was supposed to do. And that's to show love to Black men and Black boys and Black women who have come, for me and said, why are you doing this? You're doing this for attention, or you trying to get a man or whatever, baby. My options never dry up. They never dry up. I got a line waiting on Lisa Denae. Okay, please understand that first and foremost. Secondly, I'm doing this because it's in my heart to do it. and because y'all scared to do it. So either get with it or get lost, but don't try to rain on my parade, because this is a black parade and it's going to keep going. So with that being said, we are going to take a quick break, you guys, and we're going to come right back with my most special guest, Joel Patterson Jr., who happens to be my big brother. I'm super excited to have him on the show. He is so full of courage, wisdom, strength, just good words. You know, he's always been a very insightful and thoughtful person. So I'm super excited to have him as a guest on the show. So like I said, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. You guys don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for custom handcrafted fashion jewelry that makes a statement, look no further than Linda S. Jewelry, 1426. We specialize in quality pieces fit for any occasion. Follow us on Facebook at Linda S. Jewelry 1426 to view our inventory or to make a purchase. And don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you. The earth, moon, and stars are in your eyes. No matter what they say, I will not believe their lies. They hung you from trees and put you behind bars. Now they mock you and knock you because of your scars. They recruit me to use me, your right hand, to stand against you and make you feel less than a man. But you are a man, fashioned in the image of the Most High. I see the earth, the moon, and the stars in your eyes.
Woo-hoo! Yes! I don't mean to toot my own horn, but beep, beep, baby. Hey, your girl did that. So anyway, without any further delay, I am so pleased to welcome my brother, Mr. Joel Patterson Jr. to Lisa Denae Live.
Hey, what's up, sis?
Welcome, 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 brother. I am so excited to have you on the show. Oh my God. I'm just overjoyed. So overjoyed and excited to have you on the show. So, how are you? How's your day been? Just,
Well, I'm doing well. Been off for working from home for the last couple of weeks, so that's been nice. So
yes.
yeah, I'm pretty full right now. I finished up that. I ate some of those Thanksgiving leftovers. I fried a turkey.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, made my desserts, my traditional desserts. Made a carrot cake from scratch and a sweet potato cheesecake. Actually, two of them. They were so good. Yeah, I had a request for a second one. So.
Wow, I didn't even know you could do it like that. And carrot cake happens to be my favorite cake of all time.
Oh, really?
Oh, man, I love me some carrot cake. So, wow. Okay. So, yeah, we did
do it like that either.
So this was your first time making it or what?
No, I've been doing it for a while. I was inspired by the tales and, memories of our grandfather. He, how he used to get down in the kitchen.
He used to do the damn thing.
Yeah, yes, he did. So I said, man, I want to be able to do that for my family. So,
and that is the whole point of this show. Like, sometimes people don't know how inspirational they are. They don't know how you're being watched. That's one thing that I wanted to shout out to our dad, Joel Patterson Sr., who I wanted to have on the show with you, but he was tied up with another engagement. And he's going to watch the replay. So I want to give you a shout out, Dad, because one thing he always said, he said to me at a young age, and I never forgot it. He said, you are always being watched, whether you believe it or not. Somebody is always watching you. So you can either be an inspiration or you could be an example of what not to do. But whatever it is, you're going to be an impact because somebody's watching.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right, especially how we grew up, in a small town celebrities, his father being the mayor of the city. Everybody was watching us. I mean, there was nowhere we could hide. Everybody would tell on us as soon as they saw us doing something wrong. So, and you know how sneaky I was as a young man. I found ways to disguise my dirt.
But I don't call it sneaky. I call it innovative. I call it, I call it ingenuity. ingenuity. I call it smart. It was a sign of things to come, because when you have to figure a way out, figure out a way to do something without being detected. I mean, when you're smart enough to do that, who can stop you for doing anything you want to do?
That's a good point. Yeah, I have to agree with that. Yeah, because I would definitely come up with a plan and a solution to overcome the obstacles in my way of getting what I wanted. So yeah.
And you don't even know that is a huge deal. So let me just say this to my audience, to people that may be tuned in. This is my brother, and I have known my brother my whole life. First of all, of course, he is my older brother, but he is so much like my dad. Like growing up, he was so much like my dad, but he had his own personality too. But one thing I love about my brother, I have seen him be such an evolution. He evolved even as a kid. I remember when we were very young, probably like I was in kindergarten. So I remember all my kindergarten stuff. A lot of people don't remember those years, but I remember those years. And I used to watch my brother. He used to be short patience. And I noticed that he would try to do something and he would just throw it, get mad, and just he had short patience. But then when he found something that he loved, which was bikes, he loved riding bikes, and he would build these big old ramps, and he would ride so fast and jump so high in the air that I thought he was going to die. I was just like, oh my God, this is the end, But I saw him evolve, because when it was something that he loved, he had patience. And that patience carried on into other things. And that taught me something, that a person's beginning is not where their end is, when they have that gift of evolution. He evolved from being a very impatient kid to taking hold of something that he loved and being patient. And he would build those ramps. I would watch him repair his bike. Sometimes he would come down so hard from them jumps, the whole chain would just burst off his bike. And I'd be like, okay, that's it for that bike. That bike done. But no, he would get that bike and he would work on that bike. And I said, this is the kid that used to throw stuff when he couldn't get it right. And he had patience. So I've seen him evolve as a kid. And I've also seen him evolve as an adult. I've seen him as an adult be, an immature man, a playboy, a player. And being a little sister, I used to really admire that. I'd be like, oh, yeah, my brother got the hoes. My brother got these hoes.
Yeah.
I used to admire it because I was immature as well. But as he evolved, I started to evolve. He started being more mindful of who he was as a person, as a father, as a person in the community. And I saw that evolution, and I was like, wow. Like, there's nothing that this man cannot do. He evolves when he finds a need to do better. And I think that is not only a gift, it is a superpower.
Wow.
And so I wanted to introduce that to my audience, because I want you to know that if you dig deep in yourself, you might have that too. You don't have to stay the way you are. So I'm gonna stop doing all this talking and let my brother talk. But I just wanted to introduce y'all with that, because this is a person I have watched my whole life evolve to greatness. And it made me understand within me, if there's something I want to do, I can do it. I have to change, I have to adapt, and I have to evolve to achieve it. And I know that I can do it because I saw my brother do it. And I saw my dad do it. But my brother, being a child along with me, was more of an example I could relate to. So.
Well, I appreciate that, sis. Wow, that makes me feel good, because I guess I had to learn patience, because I had no other choice. You know what I mean? If I wanted to get the things done or do the things that I wanted to do, there was nobody that was going to do it for me, so I had to figure it out. And that I never really considered myself a person with a lot of patience, but listening to how you just described that whole evolution from those days when I remember I used to get so mad I'd throw stuff up against the wall and lose my mind. Just listening to you talk about that, it brought back memories that I think I must have forgot about, how I would have to talk to myself and say, I'm tired of being mad. I want to get what I want, and getting mad just didn't work.
But see, even in that, do you understand like the mental capacity you have to override your own foolishness? A lot of people can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right, and I think that's been a problem for me as far as relationships, because for me, I've just felt like why isn't everybody able to do this? Because it was, I guess, because of the environment I grew up in, where I had to do it. I didn't have any help. Dad was help, but on a different level. I had to. He wasn't gonna help me jump those ramps because he thought I was crazy doing it. So that's something I wanted to do.
But
So
see, that's why I feel like, you're blessed, and all the people in your lineage, the children that come from you, and your grandchildren, and even their children will be blessed, because you have something in you that says, I don't have a choice. But the truth of the matter is, you do have a choice. You did have a choice. You could have just sat down and said, oh, I can't do it, like most people do. I wanted to do this, but I couldn't do it, so I'll stop. But you said, I want this so bad that I'm going to change the way I am as a person so that I can have this. I'm going to talk to myself. I'm going to say, look, sit down, stop acting a fool. Let's get this done. And I think if more people could do that, this whole world would be a better place.
well, you know what? That's awesome. The way you analyze that, because it took me years, up until maybe I would say 10 years ago, before I thought of it that way. I was always thinking that everybody was that way, and I just couldn't understand. And in relationships, I had very little patience, and that was part of the reason why I had so little patience in relationships. I'm like, I can I can do this, and I don't like doing it. Why can't you do it? No, it needs to get done. What's the problem? Now, I couldn't understand why it was so difficult for people to get over these hangups and these and why it's so easy for people to make excuses. But um, I didn't realize that not everybody had the kind of upbringing that I did, or in the environment that I grew up in, or just had that inner drive that I didn't realize I had. I thought it was just part of life.
And it is part of life. It is a part of, you know, that greatness that leaders have. And unfortunately, because of the society we live in, a lot of great leaders are left following other people, knowing the right way they're going is wrong. Knowing, see, I could see this, I could solve this, I could do it. But because our society is threatened by Black men and even Black women, a lot of us natural born leaders who have that drive that you naturally had are not in leadership positions. But that's the whole point of what I'm doing with Stunner Media and Entertainment, is to put people in the mind frame that you need to rewrite this story because you are a leader. And
Right.
some of these people that's in leadership positions is leading us straight into a ditch. They're leading us off a cliff.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need people who have that drive, who have that ability to talk to themselves, to step in the, you know, take on the mantle of leadership, because we need it. And so when you talk about patience, that's what I wanted to get into, like relationships, because you say, you know, you just thought everybody could do it. I've had that problem also, because if I want something, I don't care where it is, what the obstacles are, I'm gonna get it.
Right. Right.
Period. I don't care how much it costs. I don't even consider how much it costs. And I didn't know how thrown off that was and how unusual that was until I got in relationships. And most people that I was in relationships with could not understand me, because they'd be like, what is wrong with you? But I have a focus and a drive about me that if I want something, you better get out my way, because I'm going to get it. I don't even care if it's to my own detriment. I'm going to get it. But what I had to learn is what you learned. Everybody ain't like that.
Hmm. Yeah.
So how do we deal with people um, who are different? You know, how do we broaden our understanding of other people, I guess?
Well, for me, I had to. It took me learning that I couldn't do it by myself. the places I want to go and the things I want, where I wanted to, the things I wanted to achieve, it took other people. I mean, I couldn't do it by myself. And I had to go through this, like you said, an evolution. It was a learning process. And to be honest with you, I didn't want any part with being a leader. I didn't want any part of that because that was just too much responsibility, too much pressure. But if you want things done, then you got to take charge sometimes. And it was, I guess was a reluctant leader. But another great point you mentioned is how threatened people are about strong-willed Black men. And I got my head beat in quite a few times, just standing up saying, hell no, I'm not accepting that. Or no, that's not right. We're not going to do it that. We're going to do it this way. And, I saw it growing up, but as an adult experiencing having everybody turn on you, that can be a humbling experience. I mean, no matter how strong-willed you think you are, when everybody turns on you, that can have you questioning yourself.
Yes, it will definitely have you question yourself. And that's the reason why I feel like we have to, if we don't do anything as Black people, we do have to build up our sense of who we are, our sense of identity. Because even when everybody turn against you, when you know who you are, you don't waver. Because you're like, well, this is who I am. And if the whole world is against me, I'm still going to be me. And I had to learn that the hard way. You mentioned how we grew up, and I just want to give people a little bit of insight because we were definitely raised in an unusual way by unusual people in a very unusual situation. So we're raised by entrepreneur by heart. I think our dad has always been an entrepreneur. He's always, even when he worked for other people, he had that entrepreneurial spirit where he kind of took ownership of what was going on, even if he wasn't the owner. So being raised by a person like that, you are subjected to the ultimate levels of accountability. You have to take ownership of everything. Like he is not going to let you, if you are at a place and something happens, he want to know why you didn't stop it. And you're like, I wasn't there. I was just there.
Right.
You're accountable because you were there. And I was like, what? So growing up like that, especially as Black people, it's hard, because then you start taking accountability for stuff that ain't even yours.
Yeah. Well, because I think because he raised us to be the leader, to be leaders, and as much as we didn't want to be, because I mean that's how he grew up, being a leader, taking charge of everything within his sight and hearing. That was his mentality. So when he brought us up, we didn't want it, but it was by osmosis, I guess. It just got into us. Him constantly beating us with it. It had to get into us, and that's a hard road.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you now maybe, and I don't like to make excuses, but I think about this often. What if we had been born a different color, different race? Would things have been as difficult for me as it was as a Black man? Of course, I think I know the answer to that question, but there's no excuses. That's another thing that beat into us. It's no excuse. It doesn't matter what obstacles or what hardships are in your way. Your job is to succeed. Your job is to overcome.
Right.
And, my time, and as I had spent 8 years in the Marine Corps, and that helped me get through that period, that time in the Marine Corps, because that was the hardest part. That was some hard. Marine Corps boot camp was at that time the hardest thing I'd ever done. And I spent many nights crying, thinking, dang, I don't know why the hell did I do this to myself,
Yes.
But I'll just share this with you. I probably shared it with you before, but I called Dad. They allowed us a phone call every weekend. So I called Dad, and I was just whining and crying. Man, I can't take it. I don't know if I can do this, man. It's hard. Everybody yelling at me. We got to run 3, 4, 5 miles. I'm tired. And he was like, "Well, let me ask you a question. Um, is anybody else in your platoon doing it?" I said, "Yeah, there's other people in here doing it." He said, "Well, then what's wrong with you?" And I said, "Damn, he got a point." And that made me think, they ain't no better than me. And then my whole mind frame just shifted. And I was like, I don't give a damn what I got to do. I don't care how much it hurts. I'm going to make it through this.
Right.
And, that was, that helped me get through when I saw a lot of people just falter, just
Yes.
fall over. And I don't know if I would have been able to make it if I hadn't had the upbringing that we had. And even with that, I needed to call and get, refreshments every now and then. I needed
Right.
them to, call and give me a vaccination shot with every now and then. So.
Yeah, and I think the reason you have to do that is because the world around you does not see it that way. The world around you is telling you if it's too hard, don't do it.
Yeah.
It's okay. Don't put yourself out. Don't hurt yourself. But when you're raised like that, and for me, I have a different example where I was complaining about something at school. I remember what it was because I was always different. Always. I dressed different. I did different things to other people my age. I came to school looking different from everybody. And I really didn't notice it until everybody else started pointing it out. Look what she got on. I'd be like, okay, but it's my style. I didn't care. I didn't really notice it. But when people start beating me up for it and start ganging on me and fighting me for it, I remember I would talk to Dad about that, and I would say, I don't understand why people hate me for being different, and I don't understand why people feel like I'm better or think I'm better. And he would say, you can't think you're better than them because you don't ever want to compare yourself to them. They are of no comparison. Because when you compare yourself to people, you will either get a false sense of superiority because you're comparing yourself to people who are clearly beneath the standard, or you'll get a false sense of inferiority because you're comparing yourself to people who are way above a standard, like superhuman. So don't even compare yourself. You're in your own lane. And when he told me that, I was like, okay. I took that lesson and I've never looked back. I am in my own lane. So when people make comparisons and throw comparisons in my face, well, this person got this show and they show got those views, I don't even get mad. Like, that's great for her. I love that for her or for him. But it doesn't have any bearings on what I'm doing because I'm in my own lane,
Right.
And so those are the type of lessons that I hope we are able to pass on to our children and through, these type of platforms, pass on to other people because unfortunately, most people don't have that.
And you're right. And unfortunately, I look back on some of the decisions I've made, and I've created a situation where my kids don't get the full benefit of me passing on these lessons to them because, some of them just I don't see them enough. You know what I mean? So it's tough in today's society, in today's day and age, with all the broken relationships, with the difficulty that we have as Black men and women to come together and stay together. And I have to admit, I've made some decisions that just destroyed relationships in my past. But once I got out of my own head and my own ego, I had to realize, in order for me to be able to put my kids in a position where I can teach them, I got to put my ego to the side. Sometimes I got to take that fussing and cussing that I don't want to hear. When in the past, I would just be like, I'm out, But it's not, I guess the point I'm trying to make is I had to realize it's not just about me. And I had to put my kids and my family and my legacy. I had to think about that, make that priority over how I felt at the time or at the moment or what I wanted in the short term. And that
Yeah.
took some years. That took some years for me to get to that because, in society, brother is like most of us go to what feels good. This one over here fussing at me, getting on my damn nerves. Okay, now I'm gonna go over here and mess with this one who says all the right things for the moment. But when we make those types of decisions, we sacrificing our legacy for the present, how we feel in the moment.
Right. That's a very, very good point. Our Facebook friend says that is called maturity.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Well, I
yeah,
want to speak to what you said about sacrificing your legacy for something for the moment. That is so big, and I want to speak to the sisters right now on this one because it ties into something that I learned. I feel like somehow I learned it kind of late in life, but hopefully it'll still help me and my children. I learned that when you pick a mate, you need to be picking them not just based on if they're a good husband or wife, but are they a good parent? Because some
yes.
parents are good parents, but not good spouses. So is it worth taking away a good parent from your child because they're not a good spouse to you? Is it worth that?
Hmm.
What's more important to you? Is it more important that your child be raised by a good parent or that you have a good wife or husband? That's something that we have to ask ourselves. Now,
That's,
if they ain't good at neither one, throw the whole nigga away. I'm just saying. Just start over. That's what I've had to do in the past. Sometimes
yeah,
they wasn't no good husband or good father. And
yeah.
that made me have to question why you pick them.
Hmm.
What was wrong with you? So, I just want people to think about that. What you said about your legacy. If you are bonded with someone, married to someone, in a relationship with someone who happens to be a good parent to your child, you might want to reevaluate ending the whole matter. You
Right.
might want to reevaluate that because relationship skills can be taught.
Hmm.
Parenting can be taught too, but a good parent it's something that that comes from the soul. So if your spouse is a good father and he's not a good husband, maybe try to fix it. Don't throw the whole thing away because you're hurting your children, which in turn you're hurting your legacy.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I guess you just have to. There's certain things that you have to like a husband, a wife, both have responsibilities and duties in a marriage. Just like a mother and a father, we got you when you enter that type of union, you have responsibilities. And I think the biggest reason we have such a hard time working through a marriage and having successful marriages is because we don't understand our responsibilities and our
Mm.
duties and our roles. I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say that it's as clean as a gender role because I could be good at cooking and my wife could be terrible. So it makes sense that I would do the majority of the cooking. But it don't mean I have to do it all. I mean, because it's a partnership and we have our own separate responsibilities, but we also need to work together and sharing the responsibilities. And I think we get into relationships and the marriages for the wrong reasons because for the men, oh, she got a fat booty and she look good, or for the ladies, oh, he make $100,000, whatever the reasons are. We
Or
make
that thing
decisions.
been thanging.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That thing been thinging, and,
Thing
and
is thanging.
and that thing ain't gonna always thing, you know. Or I tell you a joke. I heard this guy tell me one time. No, I'm not even do it because I'm gonna mess it up. But the moral of the story was that even the most beautiful woman can get ugly to you after a while
That's the
because of
truth.
the personality and how whether you guys can get along. So it doesn't matter how good a person looks. What matters is, and it took me a long time to figure this out. Do they have the ability to commit to responsibilities and duties and carry them out, no matter how they feel in the moment? Because another lesson I've learned is that love is not about how you feel. Love is about the commitment you make to another person.
Right.
And commitments don't change because I don't feel like doing something,
Right.
or because you pissed me off yesterday, I'm not going to wash your clothes. That's not love, you know.
Right.
So we get married and we join, we get into these. It's a covenant, it's a commitment that we get into without understanding the true power of the commitment we're taking. It's
Wow,
not
that's
something that we
good.
can just be cavalier about. Like, I pissed me off, or that girl, they got a fatter booty, I don't think I'm gonna go over there and mess with this girl. Uh, that's boyfriend and girlfriend stuff. So once you make a commitment in marriage, and I had to learn this the hard way, that if you want to solidify your legacy, it takes more than a feeling. It takes commitment. You got to be committed to that. And it's not just being committed to the person. You got to be committed to that person now is a part of your legacy.
Right.
Because when you get married, they become a part of you.
Right. Well,
So
I wanna speak on that, and I want to mention this comment that someone said on Facebook. It says it's not that we picked the wrong parent, but we didn't get to know the man or woman, and I think that's true for a lot of people. Um, and that's a whole nother rabbit hole we could go down. But I wanted to
mhm,
speak to something you said about a feeling. When you're trying to secure your legacy, it has to be more than a feeling. And a couple popped into my mind when you said that, and we don't know them personally, but when I look at Jay-Z and Beyonce, that's exactly what it looks like to me. We are securing our legacy. We ain't got time for all these. I'm tired of you. You did this and that. I'm tired. We securing a legacy here, so we got to put all this nonsense, all this noise to the side. And so many other people, just real life people, need to learn how to do that,
yes, it's not
because
easy.
it's not easy. It is not easy at all. But I think the reason why even some of us can evolve to doing it is because of our ancestry, because of our ancestors who pushed through and who said, I'm going to survive for my grandchildren and their children. They could have laid down in slavery and said, no, look, I'm done with this. I ain't going to be able to do it. I'm just
Mhm.
going to slit my throat. I'm just going to hang myself or whatever. But they pushed through so that we could push through. So we have to think in that same vein. I need to push through so my child could push through. I
Yeah.
need to mend this relationship so their children can have somebody to look to, can have a stable foundation to grow and build upon.
Yeah.
So I played a clip at the beginning of the show. We talked about love needed to be as loud as hate and all this and that. But in the beginning of that clip, the full video, if you guys love Viola Davis, just go find the video, because the full video, she mentioned in the beginning that when she first met her husband, she did not know what love truly was. And in her eyes, she thought that love could be taken away due to bad behavior. So I think a lot of us think that.
Yes.
And so where do you think we learn that from?
I think we learn it from the culture we grow up in. I think we learn it from television, from you know our parents who learned in our generation learned a lot of what they know about love through TV. I don't think the church does a real good job at teaching us what love is. I think they got the material right there, but I don't think they do a good job in teaching people in the body of Christ what love really is. And so when you have that void of 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 teaching, then something else fills that void, and that's television. So we see the daytime, like our mother grow up. When we were growing up, my mother stayed on daytime As the World Turns and Young and the Restless.
Days of our
Telling
lives.
the days of our lives, yeah. So that's what I thought love. That was my model, and then seeing I got so many different models. I got a model of how a brother supposed to be, not from dad. He modeled how a man is supposed to operate in a marriage, most of the marriage, but um, that was boring for me. I had uncles, we had uncles that was considered the cool guys. You know, they were cool. They had all the ladies, and that's what I want to be, cool. And we had men in church who modeled it, but they kind of seemed to me, and maybe it was because of my immaturity at the time, like a bunch of softies, like a bunch of pushovers. I don't want to be no pushover. I don't want to be no sucker joker, sitting up in church with shiny face, getting, my wife telling me everything. Yeah, yes, baby. Yes, baby.
Not the shiny face.
I did not want to be that. That was not a model for me. So I gravitated towards the other, the cool guy. And what they taught me love, they gave me a version of love. And it was all wrong. It wasn't until I got tired of messing up relationships, because I really wanted to be a one-woman man. Even though that was considered a boring guy or a nerd, but that's what I want to be, because I always wanted to have children, and I always thought about my legacy even as a young man. But it just didn't work. It was a conflict from the love that was modeled for me, was conflicting with my desires to build a legacy, because everything that they taught me, it was screwing up my relationships.
Right. It was destroying your legacy.
Yeah.
Well, what you have said has been a big deal for Black people and for all people, but definitely for Black people, because basically it all boils down to representation. Because you did not see yourself represented in church or in these relationships, because even when we're young, we have an idea of who we are. And you knew you wasn't no shiny face man, no shiny face man sitting there. Yes, wife. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You knew you was a boss. You was in charge. You were a leader. You knew that you was cool. You were suave. You had a swag about you. You knew that inherently as a child. You did not see yourself in those relationships. You were not represented. And this is the biggest thing that I would like church and church leaders to know, religious leaders. Stop trying to make everybody the same. Because when a person come in church with swag, he got on the latest, fashion or whatever, let him be him, because he is representing someone else who needs to see themselves in that role.
Absolutely.
For me,
I'm sorry.
For me, that's how I accepted God. As I always knew God, but how I really accepted my spirituality that I was so ashamed of, because I didn't want to be no big old church mother with a ratty wig and no man. I wanted to still have curves, sex appeal, hair flowing down my back, long nails, and be, me.
Right.
So I did not want to accept my spirituality that I already felt as a child, until I walked into a church and saw a woman sitting in the front, a pastor, with her legs crossing, stiletto heels, long nails, hair flowing down her back, in a Van Heusen suit. I said, oh, damn. That's me, right? That's what I want to be. So representation is important. And I think that you can still be cool and love your wife. You can still be, suave and debonair and take care of your kids. But when we as a culture feel like everybody got to look the same, be the same, do the same, and do things the same way, we're cutting off the young people at the knees, because they feel like that's not me. So I don't see myself in that role, so I can't do that.
Are you talking about the what's modeled to us in the church?
In church, but even in Black culture, in Black culture, you have people who feel like, if you read books, you're a nerd. Well, if you see a dreadhead dude, he got, the latest gear on. He ain't got on no suit, but he read all the books. You think to yourself, oh, that's me. I could do that. I love books, and I could still, be me. So I think it's a deeper issue of representation that we have to model in our everyday lives. We are not all the same.
Right. And we got a lot of similarities, but we're not all the same. And that's what I try to do with this, with the faith group that I lead, is I try to make it so everybody feels comfortable. You know, like it's not traditional. We don't have the traditional group. We don't have, we not quoting. We quote. There's some scripture quoted, but we don't quote scriptures all the time. We don't beat people over the head. I want to foster an environment where people feel comfortable with just laying out who they really are, because I think that's what makes a lot of people go the other way. A lot of strong leadership, people who are meant to be in leadership, uh, turn away from the church because they're tired of the fakeness. They're tired of the front, and they're tired of putting on a face for everybody, but behind closed doors you're somebody else. People are really hurting, and people are really, especially brothers, dealing with some things. And even though it's become habitual, the things that a lot of us have done or can do, it's not something that a lot of brothers want to continue doing. But
Right.
how do you change it? How do you stop? And I'm just speaking from my own experience. How do you stop getting drunk all the time? Because the face that I presented to the world was totally different than my private face. I was an alcoholic. I had major depression, and anxiety. I had a lot of things that I was dealing with, but I had to put on this front in front of everybody else. So I just got to the point where I was tired, and I said, I want to be who I say I am. Now, how do I do that? Well, I got to admit that I'm screwed up. I got to admit, yeah, hell, I drink too much. And yeah, messing with a whole bunch of women really ain't beneficial. I spend too much money, waste too much time. I piss off the woman that I'm with, and I don't look very, I don't look like a model to my children. I look like a buffoon. So once I got all that out and didn't try to hide it anymore, then I could make the change. And it wasn't easy, but I worked my way through it, and I want to create that environment for brothers, for other brothers to say, look, dude, ain't no shame in you admitting that you see that sister over there with that fat bro. We all see it. None of us are immune to it, but it's okay. Seeing it and being attracted to it is nothing wrong with that. It's what you do. It's your reaction. It's the action that you take
Right.
that decides, that determines uh, what you get out of it. And do you get a positive result or negative result? I mean, it's nothing wrong in a marriage for a man to be attracted, or for a woman, for a man to be attracted to another woman, or a woman to be attracted to another man. There's nothing wrong with that. We're human. But when we lie to ourselves and everybody else about it, instead of being honest with each other and saying, and the other person being secure enough to say, okay, I understand. And for us to come together and trust each other enough that when we made this commitment, we really meant it. To know that helps us to know that just because I'm attracted to that other person, don't mean that I'm gonna screw up what I've got. I mean,
Right.
because it's more than just how I feel. Yeah, that person probably go crazy in the bed, but I'm trying to build something that's a lot more lasting than a quick 20 minute roll in the hay. I'm trying to build something for my children, I mean, it's all about legacy. If we don't put a legacy above like I said earlier, we don't make that a priority, and we lost. And that's what I had to
Absolutely.
realize.
Absolutely. Well, I want to touch on what you said, because I feel like feelings are um, what do I want to call it? It's a powder keg for the Black community. Feelings are an issue that we don't deal with. We either tell people to shut them off, get out your feelings, or we overreact to everything. We feeling about everything. We feel a certain way about everything. I feel a way about how you looked at me. I feel a way about how you walked past me. How am
Mm-hmm.
I supposed to walk past you? I feel a way about you, how you handed me the. It's like, what? So feelings is something that we have to really work on. And I think part of it is because, during slavery, we were treated like property, or something that doesn't have feelings. So, as we moved on into our development, into our own social evolution, we were not fully developed in the area of emotions and feelings. And we know better now, so we have to learn how to do better. So I said all that to say this. Feelings are a choice, and I think people don't know that. Feelings are a choice. You can choose to feel how you want to feel. You don't have to, you're not a robot or a slave to your body. You tell yourself how to feel. And the reason why I know that is because I remember when I was young, if somebody pissed me off, and I mean pissed me off, I don't need no sleep. I'll be up all night cleaning, organizing. I'm pissed. So I don't need no sleep. And I'll be thinking, now, why can't I do this on the days when I got things to do? When I'm not pissed. The days when I got things to do, I'm so tired. I can't, I need a nap. But piss me off, and I'm the Energizer Bunny. So I said to myself, the power is already there. You are letting a negative outside force trigger it and show you what's there. Now you got to control it. So I tell myself how I feel is a choice. So when people disrespect me, and I've gotten into a position where I work a day job where people disrespect me on a daily basis because I'm in a position to train people and to have a slight amount of authority. So people get out their mouth, they disrespect me. But I decided I choose to be offended, or I choose not to be. And most of the time I'm not offended because I've made a choice that I won't be offended. And so I just let them know, I understand that you attempted to offend me, and I'm going to let that go because you need to learn what I'm trying to teach you.
Absolutely.
And most people are shocked. They blown away like, what? Yeah, because I choose how to feel. You don't choose it for me. And so once we learn that, our relationship can thrive, because the thing about our feelings is if we let outside forces control our feelings, we're doomed. Because the media going to try to make you feel one way. Then the church going to make you feel one way. Your family going to try to make you feel one way. Even your children manipulate your feelings. People who love you manipulate your feelings all day long. Marketers, they try to make us feel like we need a certain product. Our feelings are always up for free game to be manipulated.
Absolutely.
But we have to learn. I control my own feelings. So I've been that way my whole life. I've always knew that I could control my feelings. So when I wanted to love somebody or something, I didn't give a damn what they did to me. I love that nigga. I don't care if he ain't shit. I love him. I chose that.
Right.
It was in a mature way, immature way, because I hadn't fully developed yet. But now I understand it and I'm fully developed in it. And I'm like, whoa, now this is powerful. Because when you decide, like you say, you make a commitment. You look at people who are committed to certain businesses, organizations. They don't care how you feel about it. They choose how they feel about it, and that's it.
That's right.
And so I feel like if we get a handle on that as Black people, we get a handle on the fact that we choose how we feel, whether it be motivated. A lot of Black people don't have motivation to do the things they want to do. You choose that. You choose. You say, today I will be motivated. Today I will go after what I want. I will not be concerned about others. I will focus on myself and what I need to do. I make a choice.
Yes. That takes the having an epiphany for, you got to wake up and understand that you are in control, not your body and not your feelings, not your flesh. You're in control. And no external force can make you do anything. I had that awakening, I guess, at an early age. And that's why I only spent 8 years in the Marine Corps instead of 20, because I could not take people who knew nothing telling me what to do. I mean, it was a real conflict. I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave the Marine Corps. But I knew that with my attitude, that wasn't the type of Marine that they wanted. They wanted the type of guy who did what he was told. And a lot of times what I was told didn't make no damn sense. So I questioned, and I didn't care what the consequences were, because I just had that strong self-awareness where I knew there's something else going on here. I need to know so I can make a commitment.
Right.
Because I know myself. If I'm not going to make a commitment, then I'm not going to do well. And
Right.
in order to make a commitment, I got to know what I'm getting into. Marine Corps just didn't allow for that at the time. So getting out, I mean, it was something I had to do. But something you said, it's a choice, and that's what everybody needs to learn, and that's what we need to teach our children, is that how you feel is up to you. Nobody can make you feel a certain way. It's up to you how you feel. You decide how you feel.
Absolutely. And if people don't believe that, just think about the fact that a person be funny every time they come around, they make you laugh. But when you're mad at them, you choose not to be it. Whatever they say ain't funny no more.
That's
Because
right.
you made a choice that I'm not gonna laugh at their joke today because I'm pissed. So that's proof right there that shows you choose, and it's just like, this is a harsh example, but it's just like if someone is sexually assaulting you, that feel good, whatever they doing under other circumstances. But because it ain't going with what you want to be going with, it's against what you want to happen. You choose. Your body it don't even feel good to your body because it's against what you want. So you choose to feel how you felt. So I think that's what people need to understand. We make a lot of choices without knowing what we're choosing. And when I was young, I didn't know how to articulate it, but I do know that in my first marriage, when I found out my husband was unfaithful, he did not understand why I wasn't mad. He said, "Why you not pissed? Why you not mad?" I said, "Because I respect your choices. You made a choice and you chose to be unfaithful. That choice comes along with consequences that I make different choices now. And so you're going to have to deal with the different choices that now I'm going to make." But it just didn't make no sense to him. He felt like I should have been throwing stuff, breaking stuff. I knew even then in my 20s that we make choices all day, every day.
Yes.
And so we leave these choices open for other people to make them for us, and that's not good.
That's not good. You're absolutely right. Yeah, because then we're giving that power to somebody else. I mean, we have to take control of our own power. And it's not easy. It's not easy because we're three-part beings. We're flesh, spirit, and soul. So all those three different things, those three different beings, they're not always on the same page. But we have to make that flesh, because that's the one that usually get us in trouble. We got to make that flesh, beat it into submission, and that requires talking. A simple that was good what you said about your husband in your first marriage. You made that choice. It was something that you had practiced, but if you don't practice, then that flesh, if you don't practice bringing that flesh under submission to your spirit and your soul, then the flesh becomes stronger than everything else. So,
and that's crazy because a lot of people don't even know that it's separate. Like, it's so strong, it controls their whole life.
yes.
I remember having a mental picture in my head when I was a kid of going to the doctor, seeing all the posters on the wall about smoking. And then I saw my doctor on a smoke break out there. I was like, what the hell? He see the posters, he work here. He out here smoking. And it stayed in my mind, like, people's bodies control them if they don't, like you say, beat it into submission. And that's one of the things that is one of the most valuable things from our upbringing is we were put in positions where we had to make all these three parts of us work together. The Trinity had to come together. Look, spirit, soul, and body get in one formation because we ain't got time for this foolishness. We're going to get popped in the head. We're going to get left at this bus stop. There's a whole lot of things can happen to us if this ain't in alignment. So align, so I was thinking about that. Man, I lost my thought, but I was thinking about, when you said it's three parts, that's spirit, soul, and body. Me personally, I have going back into a physical job. And before that, I had never done physical work. I had always sat at a desk, never done no physical work. So doing that, I learned that my body will fall into subjection. My feet used to hurt, my back used to hurt. I used to feel like I couldn't take another step. And I would say to myself, I would talk to my body. I say, you will perform today because I require you to perform.
Yeah.
I would tell my feet, you're going to stand another 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I would just talk to myself because I realized you're not in control. I am. I'm in control of this body. And so I think once we realize that, and the only way we can really get on the same page is through the Holy Spirit. That spirit and soul part has to be bigger than the flesh, and we can't do it without God. We just can't.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, we can't. And it's just like working out every day. Now, if you go to the gym every day, you building up that body, your body will be able to perform feats that it previously couldn't. Well, if we don't go, I mean, you ain't necessarily got to go to a church, but it helps. But one thing we have to do is exercise that spirit person in us. We have to get into some, everybody got their own spirituality. I choose Christianity, and I had to get into what I called my anchor, because we all need an anchor, that spiritual anchor, and that's Christianity. I had to get into that. Now, what I call myself Christian, that means that I follow Christ. Are my actions displaying that I follow Christ? Most of the time, it wasn't. So, in order to bring that my actions, my body into submission, I had to get into reading the word. I had to get into that, get that spirit man to accept and know and work out on that word, just like going to the gym, to build that spirit man up, so that then my spirit man had the strength when I wanted to go do something crazy. My spirit man had the strength to say, no, 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 we are not doing that.
Yes.
You're going to do it the right way. Yeah, it's not fun. Yeah, it might not feel all that great. Yeah, that might feel a whole lot better. But we are going to be who we say we are. But if you don't build up that spirit, man, then he's weak. He has no authority. You got to build him up so he can take authority over the body.
Right. Because it'll be totally overrun by the physical. The physical, it's easy to make the physical strong. The physical is pretty much strong.
Oh,
but
that's right. Yeah.
We have to work on the spirit man, and we got to work on our soul being strong and being, on the same page, being healthy. And unfortunately, we're not taught enough about that. We're left in the dark about that most of the time. But that's the good thing about spirit, is it's ever present. Whether you call it the Holy Spirit, whether you call it God, whether you call it Jesus, whatever you call it, it's always present. So all we have to be is open to it. And it's right there to give us the answers and give us the insight if we desire it. So that's the good news.
Yeah, and it's a choice, just like you said, it's a choice. And we have to be the type of people, when we make a choice, it's the basic, it's like the atom to life, the basic fundamental building block to our life. We have to have the ability to make a decision and make a commitment to that decision. Because even if we choose to, we say, okay, I'm gonna choose to be more spiritual, strengthen my spirit, man. But if you don't have a commitment to that decision, to that choice, then a light breeze can throw you off your choice. Now you're going back to doing what you used to do. So we have to have the ability to make a commitment to what we choose.
Right.
It's kind of rambling, I guess, but
no,
that's
true. No, that's true, because it goes back to the thing you made about the gym. Sometimes you don't feel like going to the gym. You don't feel like building up your body, but when you're committed to it, you go beyond that. You go beyond your feelings. You go beyond, and that's something that I learned through this book that I had read not too long ago, is that we can go beyond a whole lot of limitations we put on ourselves with that level of commitment that you speak of, with that level of determination and that oneness in spirit, soul, and body. We can go beyond things that we ever thought we could do, ever thought that we could accomplish, even imagine. We can go beyond those things. So I agree with that. It takes that commitment. But I know y'all gonna be mad at me because it go all the way back to I say at the very base of all of us, you have to have self-love. Because when you love yourself, you commit to yourself, period.
Yes.
So even
Yeah.
if you don't have a commitment to loving your fellow man, when you love yourself, you know you cannot, those two things cannot be at odds. You cannot love yourself and not love others. You just can't do it. So your commitment to yourself will override all the foolishness because you committed to yourself. You have that self-love. That is the guide for me. That's been the guide for everything, because even when I don't do the things to build up my spiritual life, I'm so committed to me that I'd be like, oh, no, we're going to have to take some a mental health day off work, to have some prayer time, to have some meditation, because I have to mind my spirit, because it's all a part of who I am. And I love me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm committed to me above all others. I'm committed to me. So, so I feel like that self-love can always lead you back. It'll always lead you back to when you get off track. Is this good for me? And a lot of times, because of our society is so filled with illusions and distractions, sometimes you don't even know if you're making a good choice. What looks good might not be good for you. And what's applauded by all the people around you might be the biggest mistake of your life.
Absolutely.
But that, I feel like the self-love is that center. It's that compass that's going to always bring you back in the right direction. Ultimately, for me, the real me, not the representative, is this healthy? Is this good? Is this edifying? And if you can say yes, then hey, you're in the right direction. But if you can't, got to reevaluate.
That's right. That's right. You gotta. It makes you think about. It makes you think beyond your nose, as I like to say. It's like you think about, if I make this decision, what next? Not like I used to. I have to admit, I was younger. I would see something I wanted, make the decision, I'm getting it. But now that I understand, there are repercussions, like you said, to decisions that we make. When you love yourself, you understand, if I make that decision, that's gonna hurt me. I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to hurt me.
Right.
So what I'm going to do is take another route. I'm gonna make a safer decision. And sometimes we can be too safe. We can be scarred by past experiences and play it too safe and choose not to do something that we probably should do. So there's another dimension. We have to look at it, not just say, is it going to hurt me? But we have to weigh the cost, risk, benefit.
Right.
The cost reward.
I agree with that. And, most of the things that I was saying is based on a healthy person. But when you still scarred and you still, kind of moving out of a place of pain and hurt, you're not healthy. And that's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother hour. But I do like to encourage people to always evaluate your spiritual, mental, emotional, physical health, because sometimes you're just not healthy. You're not healthy enough physically, spiritually, especially emotionally, to make decisions.
Right.
And you're making decisions all day long, not realizing you're not in a position to do that. You need to get well, heal first,
Yes.
wellness, because from the eyes of a wounded bird, everything looked dangerous. Everything looked bad. Everything looked like it's against you. I know you've encountered people who you can't say nothing to them. They automatically think you're against them. And you be like, oh my God, what is your problem? They're not well. And unfortunately, we don't encourage people to get well. We just encourage people to, do what's best for us. But I've been in a lot of situations where I was, wanting to be with somebody, attracted to somebody. The thing was thanging, but I realized you're not well. And I told the last person I was, trying to be in a relationship with, you are not well. You need to heal from the trauma of your past relationship. I cannot be in a relationship with you. You're not well. You need to take some time to heal. And of course, he was like, what? What are you talking about? But I told him, until you heal, you're going to be a danger to anybody who will ever get a heart to you because you're not well.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Right.
not well. And so I'm just happy that I was able to heal myself and, well, not heal myself. I was able to gain healing from God and from the Holy Spirit, that I could see things clearly. Because when you're on this side of it, you'd be like, oh my God, I was a mess. I was
Yes.
a wreck. My vision was off. Everything you felt was off. And I guess people just got to take my word for it. When you get on this side of it, everything's different.
Everything's different. And I'm proud of you, sis, because I remember I used to think about your hair 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 trigger that you used to have, and I'd be like, Lord, help her. Somebody gonna kill her. Somebody gonna kill her one day.
And it's
Just
a good thing you didn't say that to me, because I'd have been like, they need to be worried about me killing them. Ain't nobody, I'm going to be the killer. If anybody to kill, that's how I used to be.
Oh, I know. That's why I didn't say it to you. But I'm so proud of you now, seeing how far you've come, and I know it wasn't easy, because I mean it takes effort. It takes it takes conscious effort to make that type of change.
It takes effort, but it also takes trials and hardship. And I try to explain things to people, like, when you have done all you could and you still experience hardship, accept it. It's part of your journey, because it's going to build you to a place where you will be enlightened and you'll be able to heal from things. And once you get out of it, you will not handle it lightly. Because that's one thing about hardship. You don't handle yourself lightly. You don't handle your situation lightly. Hardship is a very great teacher.
Yes.
Because once, for me, the hardship of having to dig through all the personal, emotional trauma and abuse and everything I went through, I don't handle me lightly at all. I'm careful who I connect myself with. I'm careful who I expose myself to. I don't watch certain things. I don't deal with certain people. When I feel a bad energy, I go that way.
Yes.
Because of that hardship. So my encouragement to people that's right now experiencing some type of hardship, if you've done all that you can to avoid this hardship, understand it's just part of your journey. It's just what it is. It's part of your journey, and it's going to make you a strong, solid individual.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yep.
Well, I can tell you what, this hour has gone by so fast. Our time is up, but I wanted to thank you for being on the show. Oh my God, I feel
Thank
like
you for
I feel
having
like
me.
I can talk for hours. I feel
Yeah,
like we can talk for hours.
well, we usually do when we talk.
That's facts. That is
Yeah.
facts. But tell people how they can find you if they want to follow you on social media, or if they would like to get in touch with you and get some of this insight.
Well, man, that's a tough one, because I really don't do social media. I do my Facebook page, Joel Patterson at Facebook, I
Okay.
guess is what it's called. But
Yeah,
I
I
really
think
don't do it. I stay away from it, because that's something that I can't get into for, you know, I don't know how to explain it, but I try to stay away
various
from social
reasons.
media.
I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah. I stay away from it. But if people want to get in touch with me, if they can just get with you, and you can send them my information, I can get them hooked up with our men's faith group and send them the information. We can get them connected and get them involved, and that'd be awesome.
All right. Well, I'm super proud of you, brother. I'm just so excited for the work that you're doing. And I know that this is simply the beginning of all the great work that you're going to be doing. And I encourage any man out there that's listening, if you feel unction in you to start a group or to be a part of a group,
Yes.
reach out. If you need some assistance, reach out. I'll get you in touch with my brother, or, I'll give you some examples of what he's got going on with his group. There's a leader in a lot of us that is sitting dormant. So I really hope that this show will be an inspiration for someone to get out there and, do what you're called to do. You'll never have peace until you do. I'm just saying.
Absolutely. That's right.
So anything you want to leave with?
Well, I guess basically it's just that, everybody is a leader. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be in a position of leadership to lead. So everybody's a leader. Just put on your big boy pants and do what it takes to be a leader, to gain the trust and the faith of the people that you need to lead, whether that be your family, your friends, and do it. Simple as that.
Absolutely. Okay, that's great. And I'm going to do something that I rarely do. I'm going to let that be it. I'm going to let my brother have the last word. So y'all take that. You don't have to have a title to be a leader. And that's it, you guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you're watching the replay, be sure to put in the comments where you're watching from and where you're listening from. This has been one of the best shows ever. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. And I will see y'all next week. And we'll be in the month of December. Can you believe it? We're going to be in December next week. So I will see y'all next week. And happy holidays.
Has your path to success been blocked by lack of training, outdated skills, or just feeling like you can't keep up with advanced technology? We have a solution for you. TT Innovative Solutions can help get you on track and assist you with the skills and services you need to achieve your goals. If you need website design, virtual conference hosting, technical skills development, help desk support, and more, TT Innovative Solutions has got you covered, and they're here to teach, train, innovate, and solve. Visit ttinnovate.com today for more information or to book an appointment. And don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you.